They all call me a bastard, saying my father was cuckolded into bringing such a useless son into the world. In a life or death battle, the tribe knelt, the women prepared to take their own lives. I stepped onto the arena. The enemy smiled and told me to die. The next moment, innate spiritual energy erupted. A head fell to the ground. Who says I'm useless? The Jiang clan, renowned for its beautiful women, has been at war with the Shinta clan for 3 years. This has left the adult males of the Jiang clan nearly extinct. And if they lose the clan life or death battle, all the women of the Jiang clan will be tortured to death or abused and sold. An atmosphere of despair enveloped the entire clan. Some chose to flee, others chose to betray. At 15, Jiang Xian was still just a half-grown boy. For his mother, his sister, and the women of the clan, he had no choice. I'm done pretending. I'll come clean. I've been hiding my strength all along. I am Jiang Xian, the last man of the Jiang clan. On the 9th day of the 7th lunar month, at Blackpool Mountain, I am Jiang Xian, 15 years old, the last man of the Jiang clan who can still stand up. Now I stand on the arena. Beneath my feet lies Shinta Yang's corpse, his head in my hand. 3 years the life or death battle between the Jiang and Shinta clans has lasted 3 full years. Almost all the men of our clan's direct line are dead. Today, even the second elder fell in battle. His corpse still lies on the arena, the blood not yet dry. There are nearly 700 clan members standing in the training grounds. Over 600 of them are women, from elderly matriarchs in their 70s to young girls only a few years old. The men are mostly children or half-grown boys like me. My younger sister, Jiang Yao, is only 14. She hides behind me, her small hands clutching tightly at the hem of my clothes, and asks timidly, "Brother, what is Qinghong's sister doing with that knife?" I saw it. Jiang Qinghong, the woman I have secretly loved for years, the most beautiful woman of the Jiang clan. She holds a dagger in her right hand, hiding it behind her back. Her gaze is icy as she stares at the arena. She is preparing to take her own life. And it is not just her. Many women here are ready. The more beautiful they are, the stronger their resolve, because we are about to lose. Lose the life or death battle for the clan. All property will belong to the enemy. All children will take their surname. All women will be reduced to the lowliest status slaves, playthings, to be defiled and sold. Such are the laws of the great Qian dynasty, decreed personally by the Qian emperor himself. For 10,000 years, no one has been able to change them. Does the Jiang clan have any man left who dares to fight me to the death? On the arena, Shinta Yong, an innate master of the Shinta tribe, stepped on the corpse of the second elder, flicked the blood off his blade, and sneered arrogantly. "Today is the day your Jiang clan perishes." Ha ha ha. He was covered in blood, having already fought 9 consecutive battles and killed 9 of our clan's warriors. But he was also wounded badly. I could tell. "You must be Jiang Qinghong." Shinta Yang's gaze suddenly fixed on Sister Qinghong's face. He licked the corner of his mouth. As expected of the Jiang clan's most beautiful woman, so stunning you're recognizable at a glance. A beauty like you would ashamed to die. "Let uncle have a little fun with you later, huh? Dream on." Qinghong's beautiful eyes widened. Gritting her teeth, the hand gripping her dagger trembled. The dozens of Shinta tribe warriors under the stage burst into laughter along with him. I clenched my fists. My mother, Wei Baijun, was born into the Wei family, one of the 4 great clans of Feishua City. Back then, she married down to my father, Jiang Hanfeng, causing a sensation, and for that, she was disowned by the Wei family. She had originally planned to take me and my little sister and escape or find a chance to flee in half a month. But now it was too late, because our clan's 5th elder, Jiang Jingsheng, stepped onto the arena. Everyone thought he was going to fight. He was the last adult male of the Jiang clan. If he could win this match, the life or death battle could be delayed for another month. But Jiang Jingsheng walked over to the second elder's corpse, removed the 1,000-year-old black jade ring, the symbol of the clan leader's status, then turned to Shun Tu Yong with a fawning expression. Yes, I'm not a man. Lord Yong is right. Compared to you, I, Jiang Jingsheng, am not a man. I hereby represent all members of the Jiang clan in surrendering to your Shun Tu tribe." Then he clasped his hands toward the overseer on the northern viewing platform. "Lord Overseer, for today's 10th life or death battle, I will not fight. I concede. The training ground fell so silent you could hear a pin drop. All the Jiang clansmen stared at him in disbelief. He had betrayed them. He had been bought off. Ha ha ha. What did I say? You Jiangs have no guts. Shun Tu-yong roared with laughter. My mother's face changed dramatically. The original plan was completely disrupted. Let's go. We leave now. Hurry, she said in a low voice to me and my sister. But Jiang Jingxing immediately turned and stared straight at my mother. Wei Baijun, do you think you can leave? He then looked at Shin Tu-yong and said with a flattering smile, Lord Yong, that woman is Jiang Hanfeng's wife from the Wei family of the city. But she has been disowned by the Wei family, so you can enjoy her without any worries. Shin Tu-yong sized up my mother with a lecherous gaze and said, I heard she's at the innate realm. I've never tasted a young lady from a big city family, let alone a rare female innate cultivator. Ha ha. Hey, the ones beside you are your son and daughter, right? They really look like you. He then looked at my sister and me, his eyes growing brighter. Especially this daughter, she's practically your spitting image. A real beauty in the making. TSK, TSK, TSK. Enough. This is intolerable. Without a second thought, I leaped several zhang into the air and charged straight onto the arena, my momentum fierce and overwhelming. Shin Tu-yong and Jiang Jingxing were both startled, instinctively stepping back a few paces. But when they saw it was me, they both laughed. It was just a half-grown kid. It's Jiang Hanfeng's useless son, Jiang Jingxing said. I knew how they saw me. I succeeded in channeling qi at 5, and at 6, I lifted a 300-gene bronze cauldron. At 7, I mastered the first 3 forms of the wind-chasing blade a year earlier than my father. Back then, everyone called me a once-in-a-century prodigy, and my fame even reached Flying Snow City. But later, my cultivation speed plummeted, and I became mediocre. No one knew why, because I was hiding my true strength. When I was 12, I met Senior Qi Shi, who passed down a technique to me. We agreed that I must never reveal my real power in public. I kept that promise for 3 years, but now there's no need. Your father, Jiang Hanfeng, is a warrior worthy of respect and the only real man in the Jiang clan. Shin Tu-yong grinned at me and said, As for you, I have no idea how your father ended up with a useless waste like you. Are you sure you're even your father's son? Maybe your mother had a bastard with some other man. The Shinto warriors below the stage burst into laughter. My mother's face turned pale and then flushed red. She trembled with rage, but she couldn't strike back. During the clan's life or death battle, private fights were forbidden, punishable by death. The inspector sat on the northern high platform, watching coldly. I ignored Shin Tu-yong's insults, turned to look at the northern high platform, and clasped my fists. Inspector, Jiang Xian of the Jiang clan requests to fight. The whole crowd erupted. He's crazy. 15? He's not old enough, is he? Jiang Hanfeng's useless son is only at the acquired meridian opening stage. He's going to die. My mother covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. She knew what I was going to do. I would use my life to buy time for her and my sister to escape, and also for all the women of the clan. I am Jiang Hanfeng's son. I would rather die fighting in the ring than be a coward. You? 15. Inspector Lei Hong spoke, his expression indifferent. Yes. Inspector. Inspector. Shin Tu-yong hurriedly said. This kid is just causing trouble. He's underage and not qualified to participate in the clan life or death battle. I looked at the inspector. Inspector, the laws of the great Qian dynasty stipulate that the age of adulthood is 15. The so-called 16-year-old adulthood is just a tradition of the heightened mountain region. Léon Chute surprise. In such an ignorant and barbaric tribe, someone had actually studied the imperial laws carefully. I approve your fight. He didn't say anything else. On the arena, Shin Tu-yong looked at me with a grim expression. Kid, since you're so set on dying, don't blame me for bullying the weak. Rest assured, after you die, I'll take good care of your mother and sister. I dragged my blade, staring at him. Although I've always kept my promise to Senior Qi Shi and never revealed my true strength in public, I'm not at the Acquire Meridian opening stage. I'm half-step innate, and I have been since I was 12. 3 years. My body has been nourished by innate spiritual energy for 3 years, increasing my total spiritual power by no less than 20 times. Only 1 step remains, and I'll be a true innate realm cultivator. As for Shin Tu-yong, Though his realm is higher than mine, his internal injuries are severe, making his reactions much slower than usual. I have a chance. Let us begin. The supervisor's voice rang out. Boom! I stepped forward and charged, dragging my blade. Too slow, too slow. With such little skill, you still dare to play the hero? Shin Tu-yong stomped the ground, springing up like a tiger or a leopard, and brought his saber down toward my head. The strike was imposing, fierce, and domineering. At that moment, my aura surged violently. Innate spiritual power roared like turbulent waves within me. Shun Tu-yong was startled, his eyes wide, and he quickly withdrew his blade to retreat. But he was already injured. Such sudden changes in advance and retreat couldn't be smooth. He staggered, watch out. From below the stage, Shun Tu-yin and Shun Tu-mao sure both shouted. Half-step innate. A 15-year-old half-step innate. My blade's momentum soared. With extremely fierce blade light, I continuously slashed at Shun Tu-yong, step by step forward, catching him off guard. 1 slash, 2 slashes, 3 slashes, 4 slashes, 5 slashes, 6 slashes. Shun Tu-yong retreated 6 steps, receiving my 6 slashes. His cultivation, movement, and blade technique were all superior to mine, but suddenly attacked so fiercely, he had no chance to adjust. His originally severe internal injuries worsened with each blow he blocked. As my 7th slash came down, clang, his blade flew from his hand. The blade light cut across his body. A large head flew into the sky with an expression of disbelief. I leaped up, grabbed his hair, landed facing north. Thud! Shin Tu-yong's headless corpse collapsed onto the arena stage. At 15, half-step innate realm, he slew Shin Tu-yong, one of the top 10 experts of the Shin clan. I won, sir. I raised the severed head toward the inspector. Lei Hong nodded, stood up, and announced, today's 10 life or death battles are over. Your 2 clans will fight again next month. The training ground was silent at first. Immediately, a cacophony of discussions erupted. The women of the Jiang tribe were ecstatic. Some were so emotional that they wept tears of joy. Some even hugged each other and cried. Wei Baijun looked at her son in disbelief. She suddenly laughed, wiping away tears while laughing. Big brother won. Big brother won. Jiang Yao jumped and clapped. Her palms were red from clapping. He had overpowered and killed Shun Tu-yong. A beautiful, sturdy, middle-aged female warrior in leather armor exclaimed in surprise. Beside her, her son, only 8 or 9 years old, looked at Brother Xian on the arena with eyes full of admiration. 15 years old, truly worthy of being Han Feng's son. The Grand Elder, over 70, wept tears of emotion. She thumped her cane heavily on the ground a few times. Oh my God, he won! A 15-year-old half-step innate. All the women of the Jiang tribe were excitedly discussing. They all understood what a 15-year-old half-step innate meant. This special realm represented that Jiang Xian becoming an innate expert was only a matter of time. Back then, his father, Jiang Hanfeng, had broken through from Hot-Eon perfection to Xiantian at the age of 18, never having experienced the realm of half-step Xiantian. According to legend, a half-step Xiantian cultivators. Internal spiritual power would naturally nourish the body, and within at most 2 years, the body would undergo Xiantian transformation, thus becoming a true Xiantian realm cultivator. Jiang Xian might become a Xiantian at 17, or even 16, which would break the record set by his father, Jiang Hanfeng, the once-in-a-century genius of the Jiang clan. He was truly worthy of the title. On the other side, more than 50 Shinto clan warriors were all stunned. Half-step Xiantian, this boy cannot be allowed to live. He really did kill a Yong. Shin Tu-yin stared at the platform in shock, unable to come to his senses for a long time. A Yong was only 34 years old, yet he was already one of the top 10 experts in the clan. He was the chieftain's youngest brother. The chieftain had intended to groom him as the next chieftain, which was why he had him fight all 9 matches today. Make him the key figure in winning the 3-year life and death battle. Give him the greatest credit, but he was actually killed. 5th Elder Jiang Jingsheng had already been bribed half a month ago. Today's 10th match shouldn't have been fought. We should have substituted someone. We should have substituted someone. Shin Tu-yin suddenly roared out in grief and fury. Shin Tu-yin was 44 years old. He was the leader of the Shinto clan present. His strength was even greater than Shinto Yong's. He could rank in the top 3 within the Shinto tribe. Shameless brat, deliberately hiding your strength, taking advantage of our clan warriors' severe injuries. Launching a surprise attack, what kind of skill is that? Shinto Mausher bellowed in anger. Just wait 1 month. Our clan warriors will definitely tear you into 1,000 pieces. You, a mere half-step Xiantian. Our clan still has dozens of Xiantian warriors. Any one of them can easily kill you. I'd like to see how you'll defend yourself then. That's right. When the time comes, we will definitely tear you to pieces. Just wait to die. Then our clan chief will personally kill you. The warriors of the Shinto tribe all voiced their indignation in agreement. With Shinto Yong killed, his elder brother Shinto Lai, the chieftain of the Shinto clan, will likely take personal action next month. Shinto Lai was a rare spear cultivator in the Blackpool Mountain region. In his youth, he had mastered spear techniques. He roamed around the various tribes of Blackpool Mountain, challenging fellow cultivators of similar age. He met no rival until Jiang Hanfeng returned from his travels. It was then that he lost by half a move. After Jiang Hanfeng disappeared, now in his prime, Shinto Lai has gradually earned the title of the strongest warrior of Blackpool Mountain. He is hailed as the Spear Overlord, meaning the tyrant among spears. Jiang Xian turned his head to look at the Shinto tribe members, giving them a disdainful sneer that said, "Bring it on." Then he raised his hand, lifted his foot, saying, "This dog's head. I return it to you." Boom! Jiang Xian kicked Shinto Yang's head out. It flew round and round toward the Shinto tribe members. Shinto Yin deftly caught the head of his sworn brother. Blood splattered across his face. Shinto Yin glared at Jiang Xian, his eyes nearly splitting with fury. The veins on his forehead bulged, throbbing faintly, though his rage was at its peak. There was nothing Shinto Yin could do. During the tribal life or death battle, private conflicts were forbidden. Earlier, Shinto Yong had verbally insulted Wei Baiyun to such an extent. Even though Wei Baiyun was stronger than Shinto Yong, he could not kill Shinto Yong. Now Jiang Xian was humiliating the Shinto clan in this way. Aside from their faces turning pale with anger, there was nothing they could do. Shinto Yin also understood. Now was not the time for empty words. There were more important matters to attend to. Go find a clan chief right now. Take my horse beast. Inform the clan chief of the situation here. Plans have changed. Tell them to hold off for now. Be quick. You must inform them before sunset, or else come back with your head. Shinto Yin turned to a clansman and spoke in a rapid, low voice. The young clan member, named Shinto Min, received the order and departed. Jiang Xian calmed the surging spiritual energy within him on the arena stage. I had stepped into half-step Xiantian at the age of 12. Due to an agreement with Senior Qishir, I have been hiding and disguising my cultivation level. This body of mine has been nourished by Xiantian spiritual energy for 3 years. Though I have not truly reached Xiantian, my total spiritual energy has increased by at least 20 times. Jiang Xian thought to himself, if I break through, even as a newly advanced Xiantian, I could face Shinto Yong, a late-stage Xiantian, and even at his peak, he might not be my match. The technique passed down by Senior Qishir is indeed formidable, far surpassing the cultivation methods of our clan. Once matters here are resolved, I will go seek Senior Qishir's guidance on the breakthrough method. After his breath stabilized, Jiang Xian jumped down from the north side of the arena. He walked straight toward the members of the Shinto clan, but his gaze was not on their faces. Instead, he stared at fifth elder Jiang Jingsheng, who stood among the Shinto people. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Several figures shot out from around the arena at the same time. All were women of the Jiang clan, and all were at the Xiantian realm. They were the last Xiantian combatants of the Jiang clan, yet they were not qualified to participate in the clan life and death battle. Wei Baijun, the strongest, also leaped to the side of her son Jiang Xian. She raised her sword and stared at Jiang Jingsheng. Jiang Jingsheng's face showed panic. He looked for help to the several Xiantian experts of the Shinto clan present. Shinto Yin moved a step, blocking in front of Jiang Jingsheng. The other Shinto Xiantian also surrounded them, protecting Jiang Jingsheng in the middle. To the Jiang clan, Jiang Jingsheng was a traitor. To the Shinto clan, he was one who knows the times and is a wise man. They couldn't let those who defected feel disheartened. He has voluntarily submitted. He is now a member of our Shinta clan. You want to make a move, don't you? Shinta Yin barked. His submission is his own affair. But you cannot take anything from my Jiang clan, especially the ring that symbolizes the clan leader's identity. This item has been passed down through my Jiang clan for 1,000 years. It not only represents the clan leader's status, but also serves as the token to command the 47 tribes of the 100 Ridges. Jiang Xuani reached out his hand, signaling him to hand over the black jade ring. More and more Jiang clan members gathered around. Drawing their weapons, the supervising envoy Lei Hong turned his head, frowning as he watched the scene. Shun Tuyin sensed trouble, worried that the Jiang clan would use this as an excuse to cause trouble. He quickly signaled Jiang Jingsheng with his eyes. Fine, I'll give it. I never said I wouldn't. Jiang Jingsheng hastily removed the black jade ring and handed it over. Shun Tumin rode her beast out of the Jiang clan's earthen city, heading southwest all the way. The beast's fur was blood red. Its appearance was majestic and noble, with 6 eyes on its face and a single horn on its forehead. This beast, bearing the bloodline of the 3rd-tier demonic beast red main shadow beast, could travel 3,000 miles in a single day. Its value could even buy a 3-courtyard mansion in Feishua City, the main city where land is as precious as gold. Even a powerful clan like the Shintu only had a few beasts of his caliber in total. Shintu Yong, the younger brother of the clan leader, was not even worthy of owning one. This was Shintu Yan's mount. Hiya, hiya. Shintu Min whipped the beast again and again, urging it on relentlessly. Faster, faster. We must arrive before dark, or else something terrible will happen. Shintu Min lashed the whip once more, his anxiety growing by the moment. He knew full well how critical this message was. Jiang Xian winning the final battle today might seem merely to buy the Jiang clan another month of survival, but in reality, its impact went far beyond that. He had also ruined the Shinta clan's carefully laid grand plan. Shinta Min was a core member of the Shinta clan's direct lineage. He knew the true reason his clan had suddenly waged war against the Jiang. Shintu Min was a core member of the Shuntu clan's direct lineage. He knew the real reason why his tribe had suddenly declared war on the Jiang clan. The tribe leader must stop immediately. Giddy up. In the blink of an eye, an hour passed. Dusk. At the old Bull Head Ridge, over 300 li southwest of the Jiang clan's earthen city. This land still belonged to the Jiang clan's territory. The Gamu tribe, loyal to the Jiang clan, lived and hunted in this area. Shinta Min rode her mount into Old Bullhead Ridge, circling around the Gamu tribe's patrol range. After another short ride of about a quarter of an hour, she gradually approached a hidden valley. The valley was desolate, sparse vegetation, bare and barren everywhere. No herd survived nearby. Even the Gamu tribe's hunters never came here. It could be called a place untouched by man. Look, someone's coming. On the cliffside of the valley, the long-faced man, lying by the boulder on lookout, noticed the approaching figure. He quickly snapped to attention, drawing his bow and taking aim. The tribe leader had ordered. Any stranger approaching, kill without mercy? It's Amin. Friendly. The scarred man, who was on watch together, reminded. Isn't he riding Uncle Yan's mount? Why is he rushing here so urgently? Could something have happened? The long-faced man put down his bow and asked doubtfully. What could happen? He must have won and come to report the good news. The scarred man said with a relaxed smile. Inside the valley, which should have been deserted, there was now a scene of bustling activity. On the cliff wall more than 20 zhang high inside the valley, there was a cave entrance several zhang in diameter. Broken stones were continuously being carried out from the cave. These Shun Tu clan members, on the territory of the Jiang tribe, seemed to be digging for something. The sound of galloping hooves came fiercely, rushing into the valley. Hurry, and take me to see the chief. Shun Tumin shouted eagerly as soon as she saw the person. The busy Shinta people in the valley all stopped at once. Amin, a scar-faced man who was directing in the valley, exclaimed joyfully upon seeing Shinta Min. A Yong made his move in person. The Jiang clan has been judged completely defeated, right? Ha ha! The Jiang clan is stubborn and unyielding. We gave them a chance to submit, but they didn't know when to yield. They put up a desperate resistance for 3 years. They insisted on having all their men killed by us. Only then did they understand the might of our Shinta clan. It's been 3 years, sighed the tall, thin man in a beast-hide robe. Our clan has also lost many brave warriors in battle. But we finally won. We should drink heartily for 3 days and 3 nights, and celebrate grandly. The Jiang clan produces many beauties. The man with a sharp mouth and monkey-like cheeks, who was putting down a stone by the cave entrance, leered obscenely. He licked the corner of his mouth with extreme excitement. Every one of their young women is a beauty. We must have a good time with them. Oomph. The Jiang clan has repeatedly tarnished our Shengtu clan's reputation over these 3 years. Accuse us of betraying our trust. How dare you still mention the marriage between Jiang Hanfeng's son and Our Lady Yu? Ha ha. His father has disappeared already. The Jiang clan still wants that waste Jiang Xin to marry Our Lady Yu. They want to use this to end the life and death battle. Jiang Xin deserves it? Don't even mention him. He's already a slave of our Shinta tribe. He only opened his meridians at the age of 15. He can barely even serve as a sparring partner for the youths of our tribe. The tall, thin man shouted to Shinta men, Amin, hurry up and tell us. How Yong killed enemies on all sides. In the cave, the long, narrow tunnels were filled with bustling figures. They were drilling holes all over the cave and stuffing them with fire thunder. Crates of fire thunder were continuously carried into the cave. Their quantity was so great that it could even blow up the entire valley. At the deepest part of the cave, before a green stone wall that emitted light and a strong aura, a man and a woman stood there. Daughter, do you know? What is this? Shen Tu-Lai leaned on his black spear, pointing with his other hand at the stone wall. His tone was slightly excited. The green stone wall sparkled like jade, translucent like glass, with occasional red crystals the size of fingernails embedded within. In every cubic zhang of green crystal, there were roughly over 20 red crystals. This is molten crystal, or the red ones are molten crystals, a high-grade forging material. Any small piece within will be worth over 1,000 taels of gold. The 15-year-old Shun Tuyu had fair skin. She had read widely since childhood, erudite and knowledgeable. The green crystals wrapping the outside are the companion or of molten crystals, iron jade crystal, also a forging material, valued at the same weight in silver. Then do you know if our clan were to obtain these? What does it represent? Shinalai asked again. If our tribe gains these, what does it represent? Shinta Yu paused. Her beautiful and poised face flushed slightly with excitement. Most of the molten crystal mine is buried deep underground. Only a portion reaches the surface. Another surface outcrop of the molten crystal mine is at Golden Rooster Ridge, more than 10 li away. If these 2 outcrops of the molten crystal mine are actually one deposit, it means the molten crystal mine stretches over 10 li underground. The value of this molten crystal mine would surpass all assets of the 10 great tribes of Blackpool Mountain, including territories, trade caravans, vassal tribes, mines, and more, combined and multiplied tenfold. And then some. Shintayu unconsciously clenched his fists. His breathing grew heavy with excitement. Once this mine belongs to our tribe, Father, you will not only restore the glory of our Shinto ancestors from 1,000 years ago, but you could even go further and purchase the city construction right to build a true city on our tribe's territory. Father, you would be the lord of the city, letting our Shinto clan rising from a tribe to nobility. By building a city, rising to nobility. Shinta Lai nodded heavily. When the time comes, our Shinta clan will no longer be threatened by other tribes and will be under the protection of the main city's patrol troops. Noble territories can also raise their own armies, establish noble courts, formulate tax laws, and there will be at least hundreds of thousands of commoners and merchants relocating to the new city. Organizations founded by gods and demons, such as Heavenly Pavilion and Yipin Jai, will also set up branches in our city. Both father and daughter were very excited. The living conditions of tribal clans have always been harsh besides tribal conflicts. There's also the problem of beast attacks. Powerful beasts possess intelligence no less than humans. They know how to seek advantages and avoid harm, and dare not attack imperial cities or well-armed noble territories. If they want to eat people, tribal territories are their targets. The 10 major tribes of Heighten Mountain. Such events have occurred throughout history. Incidents of demonic beasts breaking into tribal towns and massacring people. Some severe cases even saw casualties exceeding half the population. Attacks by demonic beasts in the wild were even more frequent. Building a city and rising to become nobles was the greatest wish of all tribal chiefs throughout Blackpool Mountains history. Our Shinta clan truly carries the mandate of heaven. Shinta Lai said with emotion. 3.5 years ago, your uncle pursued bandits into the Jiang clan's territory and accidentally discovered this fused crystal mine. The aura of the fused crystal would grow stronger over time. We thought the Jiang clan would discover it eventually. But unexpectedly, Jiang Hanfeng suddenly disappeared. Heaven truly aids our Shinta clan, and that Jiang Xian, who was meant to revive the Jiang clan, lost his talent due to rushing his cultivation. This is the will of heaven. Upon hearing Jiang Xian's name, Shinta Yu's beautiful eyes flickered. The two clans had once discussed a marriage between her and Jiang Xian. Now, a waste from a defeated clan. Clearly, she was not worthy of him. Shin Tuyu immediately put Jiang Xian out of her mind. It's a pity that second uncle is no longer with us. Shin Tu Li Sigid. Yes, he's gone, but your third uncle is still here. Your Uncle Li, Uncle Qing, Uncle Wanjun. In these 3 years, half of our Shin Tu clan's warriors have fallen. Shin Tu Lai's eyes reddened as he spoke, but then his voice rose. Yet all of this was worth it. We have won this war against the Jiang clan. Today we have seized everything, including this crystal mine. With this mine, the fate of our Shin Tu clan will be forever changed. We will build a true city and become nobles what no previous Shin Tu leader could achieve. I, Shin Tu Lai, have accomplished, Shin Tu Lai said, stroking the green stone wall. The iron jade crystal felt warm and smooth, not cold like rock, yet harder than stone. Father, I have a proposal. Shinta Yu spoke. My daughter, go ahead. Shinta Lai glanced at his daughter. This newly built city, let's call it Lai City. What do you think? Shinta Yu said, Lai City. Shinta Lai's eyes lit up. He couldn't help but laugh heartily. Ha ha ha, wonderful. Lai City. Let be Lai City. His body trembled with excitement. Now, Shinta Lai was already considered by some to be the #1 warrior of Hidden Mountain, unbeatable since birth. If he could also achieve the great feat of leading his tribe to become nobles, he would surely be recorded in history, praised by generations. Naming the soon-to-be-established noble city after him was clearly a better method than carving his name on a stone tablet. Buzz! The green stone wall suddenly emitted a ripple of energy. It had been radiating a strong aura all along. After this tremor, the aura it released intensified by another level. Even those outside the cave could sense it. The aura has grown even stronger. Shin Tu looked on. At most another half-month, the aura of this molten crystal mine, it will be sensed by people from several li away. Can no longer hide. It doesn't matter anymore. Shin Tu laughed and sighed. We've already won. Capture all the territory of the Jiang clan. Everything on the territory belongs to our Shengtu clan. No need to wait another half-month. Today, wait for the sun to set. Let's blow up this valley. The iron jade crystal is extremely hard. It must be burned with a large fire for several days before it can be mined. We don't need to hide anything anymore. Shengtu nodded. Once the first batch of melt crystals is mined, after determining the quality, Tongtian Pavilion will probably send people to discuss cooperation immediately. Tap, 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 the sound of urgent footsteps. Chief, Chief. Shin Tu Min had already asked clearly at the cave entrance. Knowing that Shinta Lai is here, knowing that Shin Tu Lai was here, boom! Shinta Lai's knuckles white as he gripped his spear and thrust it heavily into the ground. His face ashen, he roared. What did you say? Say it again. Jiang Xian won the final match. Uncle Yong was beheaded. The young Shinta Min braced himself and said. The Inspector General said, fight again in 1 month. Jiang Xian? How is that possible? The son of Jiang Hanfeng. Kill my last younger brother. I planned to treat him well, and yet he dares to show his face? 15 years old. 15 years old. Shinta Lai's face twisted into a ferocious snarl. He spun around abruptly, his black spear instantly lifted. Fierce and savage, he smashed it into the green stone wall. But the iron jade crystal was over 100 times harder than rock. Only special methods could mine it. Shinta Lai's full force blow, released in anger, only chipped off a few small fragments from the green stone wall. Shinta Min was so scared that she dared not move. Lowering her head, to go notify the outside. The mining plan is cancelled. Shinta Yu said calmly to Shinta Min, it cannot be blown up. This territory still belongs to the Jiang clan. Once they find out that their own territory has such a mine, the Jiang clan would obtain this unimaginable wealth. This could bring utter destruction to the Shinta clan. Shinta Min left as if granted amnesty. Father, what do we do now? Shinta Yu looked at his father. I will kill him with my own hands. Shinta Lai gritted his teeth and said angrily. He is now the strongest in Heightened Mountain, intending to act personally. Jiang clan's earthen city. The back mountain. The sky is dim. Deep in the dense forest, Jiang Xian leaned against a large rock, sitting cross-legged on the ground, with 5 hearts facing the sky. There were several pools of blood on the ground in front of him. Jiang Xian spat blood again. No matter how strong a half-step innate, killing a true innate expert is extremely difficult. I was able to overpower and kill Shinta Yu. First, because of the techniques passed down by Senior Strangestone. Second, because I used innate spiritual power without regard for the consequences. But I don't yet have an innate body. My meridians are severely damaged. Jiang Xian opened his eyes, wiped his mouth, and stood up. His complexion was much better than when he first arrived at the back mountain. His injuries had stabilized. After today's life and death battle for the tribe, Jiang Xian came to the back mountain to heal alone, and instructed that no one was allowed to disturb him. He was the last man of the Jiang clan, and had won the life and death battle. His prestige within the clan instantly soared from average to the highest. And even the clan leader's token, the black jade ring, which he had demanded back from Jiang Jingsheng, was now worn directly on his finger. He said no disturbances, so no one would disturb him. Wei Baijun had 1,000 questions she wanted to ask her son. He could only endure it for now. Healing is the priority, Senior Strangestone. Are you there? Jiang Xian turned around to look at the large moss-covered stone. The stone was about half a zhang tall, narrow at the top and wide at the bottom, like a miniature mountain peak shrunk countless times. Such naturally formed, strange stones with distinct shapes were not very rare within the tribal territory. After all, the mountains were full of stones. There were always a few with unique shapes. But Jiang Xian's stone was different. This stone had been in the mountains behind the Jiang clan's Earth City for who knows how many years. When Jiang Xian's grandfather was alive, he had said that this stone was already there when he was a child. Because of its unique shape, it was specifically mentioned and inquired about. 8 years ago, 7-year-old Jiang Xian, to build up his strength, had moved many heavy objects. One day, he tried to move this strangely shaped stone. His palm was cut, and blood dripped onto the strange stone. From then on, Jiang Xian had been connected to this stone, formed some kind of wonderful connection. Only Jiang Xian himself could feel it. At first, he didn't know what this connection was. The stone hadn't changed at all. Not long after that, he finished his training in front of the strange stone and muttered some words to himself. He suddenly heard the strange stone actually respond to him. It was a faint voice, impossible to tell if it was male or female. 8 years had passed, and now Jiang Xian understood. This mountain peak's strange stone was actually an ancient communication stone capable of conversing with people far away. Senior Stone, are you there? Still not back yet? Jiang Xian kept calling to the stone, hoping for a response. Billions of miles away, at the core of the great Qian dynasty, Qianjing City, this magnificent city, covering an area of 100,000 li, with city walls towering tens of thousands of feet high, stood like a celestial palace, reaching to the heavens. Approximately 100 million people lived within this city. At the 4 city gates, 8 giant puppets stood guard. Each giant golden golem towers over the city walls, as lofty as mountains and peaks. They wear heavy armor, wield giant axes. So-called gods and demons before them can be casually slaughtered. In the eyes of the giant golems, standing tens of thousands of feet tall, the figures entering and leaving the city gates are as small as dust, just as mortals look down upon ants. They are beings nearly on par with gods, yet they are merely laborers guarding the gates of Qianjing City. Within Qianjing City, the Imperial Palace, the immortal Du Hall bedchamber built atop a mountain peak in the clouds. The fish raised in the immortal pond are caught from outside the world's rifts. Void alien species. The brown lion dog, dozing under the window, is the last world destroying level divine beast in this world. The bedchamber has many decorative ornaments. There are screens carved from time, space crystals, the scepter of the demon emperor from beyond the realm, and the crystal-like skull of some world destroying level divine beast. A small tree that has already borne star-like fruits. The thick and ancient broken sword on the shelf. In the corner, a half-zhang tall strange stone like a mountain peak was placed. Senior Stone, are you there? Haven't returned yet? A youth's voice continuously came from within the strange stone. But the purple-robed maid standing by the hall door seemed not to hear it, standing there motionless, until a figure suddenly appeared out of thin air in the hall. How long has this little one been calling? A figure wearing a phoenix crown appeared out of thin air. Her voice made it impossible to tell if it was male or female. Even the face was hard to discern. Anyone looking at her would feel as if looking at chaotic space-time. The more one tried to see clearly, the harder it became to see clearly. Your Majesty, he has been looking for you since an hour ago. The purple-robed maid walked over and said respectfully, but dared not lift her head to look at the newcomer, because she was one of the oldest living beings on this land, the supreme ruler of this territory, a symbolic icon long since equated to a deity. It was the emperor who had ruled the great Qin dynasty for 10,000 years. Because she had lived for so long, the world had long forgotten her appearance, her name, and even her gender. People called her Empress Qin. It's been 2 hours. Still watching? It seems the little fellow is in big trouble. Empress Qin said, by the way, did he say how their tribe's life and death battle went today? He didn't mention it. The purple-dressed maid said with her head lowered, although she had been with Empress Qin for thousands of years and was considered Empress Qian's closest person. She still dared not look at Empress Qian while speaking. Empress Qian's authority was bolstered by the entire dynasty's fate. He probably lost all 10 battles again. His mother should be taking him and his sister on the run. Empress Qian walked to the sound transmitting stone. This ancient sound transmitting stone was something Empress Qian had inadvertently obtained during an expedition to a ruin 17,000 years ago. Ancient refers to the period from 100,000 years ago to 300,000 years ago. Back then, telepathy stones were also graded. Mountain peaks and strange rocks were the highest level, boundless telepathy stones. They were treasures only the top ancient sects could possess. But by today's standards, they're not really that advanced. Nowadays, the most cutting-edge telepathy devices can be made extremely small, a paper talisman or a jade token, and achieve the same effect as the ancient boundless telepathy stones. This is one of Emperor Qian's antique collectibles. Though its crafting technique is outdated, rarity makes it valuable. Because of the unique shape of this ancient telepathy stone, Emperor Qian, 10,000 years ago, placed it in his own bedchamber as a small rockery ornament. It could be said to be a purely decorative piece. When telepathy stones are crafted, they come in pairs, allowing communication between them. Emperor Qian obtained one, but it's almost impossible to find its counterpart. This item is used for ultra-long distance communication. The other one must be somewhere billions of miles away, and it's hard to say exactly where. And it's a product of ancient times. It's highly likely that it was destroyed long ago. Just a decorative item of some historical significance, not worth Emperor Qian's initiative to search for. Emperor Qian never thought, either, that this thing would one day sound. The third form of wind-chasing blade is so difficult. I got started on the first form, drag blade, in just a month. Mastered in 3 months, perfectly grasped in half a year. The second form, intercept blade, I also perfectly mastered in a year. But this third form, collapse blade, I've been practicing for 7 months now. Still can't get started. That day, 8 years ago, Emperor Qian heard from the ancient sound transmitting stone. The voice of a little boy full of childishness came out. The little boy mumbled. The voice grew farther away, as if about to leave. Emperor Qian stopped him through the sound transmitting stone. It's easy to coax words out of a child. Emperor Qian quickly learned the general situation from this little boy, named Jiang Xian, only 7 years old. The tribesman of the Blackpool mountain area worshipped his own father and thought the sister named Jiang Qin Hong in the tribe was the most beautiful. He was practicing a tribal saber technique called the wind-chasing blade, and so on. From that day on, the Qian emperor often used the sound transmission stone to learn about the daily life of the remote tribes under his rule. Occasionally, he would casually guide the little one in his cultivation, just to pass the time, and to find someone who dared to speak with him normally. It had been the same even up to today. "Senior Qishur, have you not returned yet?" Jiang Xian sat cross-legged on the ground again, but this time facing the sound transmission stone, looking listless. "I'm back." A calm voice came from the sound transmission stone. "Senior." Jiang Xian's spirits lifted, and he stood up at once. "Senior, I must first confess my mistake to you. I didn't keep my promise to you. You made your move?" The Qian emperor guessed, but was surprised. "What about the second elder and the fifth elder? And the others? Isn't there enough for 10 people? Why did it have to be your turn to fight? The fifth elder betrayed us. One person short, so you stepped in, challenging a Xian. If I hadn't acted then, no one would have made it out. And that Xintian, Jiang Xian explained the situation in detail, then added, "It's thanks to you telling me the other day that the imperial law considers 15 years old as adulthood. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been qualified to step onto the arena. I just wanted to see if you little rascal, would have the guts to make a move. You actually surprised me." Qian Huang said, "Senior, you really are strange. It was you who taught me the technique. You who told me not to show it off easily in public. And now it's you who wants to see if I dare to fight." Jiang Xian said helplessly. Senior Strangestone has always been strange. For example, Jiang Xian still didn't know the senior's name. The other party refused to reveal it, so Jiang Xian could only address him as Strange Stone. In the dark mystery technique, it was the technique that Senior Qishur had taught him. If Jiang Xian was not mistaken, the name of this technique should be the Dark from Darkpool Mountain, combined with the mystery from Jiang Xian's name. In other words, Senior Qishur didn't even want him to know the real name of the technique he imparted. Jiang Xian could vaguely sense that Senior Qishur did not want him to know his true identity. That was why he addressed him as Senior in this way. "I have yet to reach the Xiantian realm, yet I publicly used the technique you taught me. It was a matter of necessity. It concerned the survival of my clan. I had no choice but to intervene. Please forgive me, Senior." Jiang Xian sincerely apologized again, although he knew nothing about Senior Qishur. Not his height, build, life history, or conduct. Only communicated through voice. Jiang Xian believed that Senior Qishur was an incredibly powerful and extraordinary expert. This belief stemmed from Senior Qishur's casual guidance at the very beginning. The two met 8 years ago and often chatted afterward. Around that time, Jiang Xian was training in the third technique of wind-chasing blade, but always had trouble comprehending it. Then one day, while chatting with Senior Qishur, he brought up the blade technique again. Senior Qishur casually gave him a few pointers. And that very day, Jiang Xian understood the third technique. Afterward, under Senior Qishur's guidance, Jiang Xian went from a beginner to mastery of the third technique in just half a month. That was something his father had taken 2 years to accomplish. From then on, Jiang Xian had no doubt about Senior Qishur's strength. He began to actively seek Senior Qishur's advice on cultivation problems. Senior Qishur would sometimes patiently guide him, and other times let him figure things out on his own, saying little. When Jiang Xian told Senior Qishur about his cultivation method, the Jiang clan's technique, he heard a very low evaluation from Senior Qishur. The technique was so terrible that even Senior Qishur had no interest in offering any guidance. So Jiang Xian asked Senior Qishur to teach him a technique. He was just trying his luck at the time. After all, they were not related. Unexpectedly, Senior Qishur agreed, but there were some conditions, including that he must regularly come to the communication stone to chat with him, that he must practice in secret, temporarily give up cultivating other techniques, and not use the taught technique in public before reaching the innate realm. Jiang Xian agreed after briefly weighing the options. Though he was young at the time, he was fully aware that this was a great opportunity. He had to seize it. So Jiang Xian abandoned the techniques he had previously cultivated. He stopped practicing the Jiang family techniques, as well as the wind-chasing blade, and devoted all his energy to cultivating the black profound art. This technique did not disappoint him. Even with a lack of resources, he reached half-step innate by the age of 12. If this were to get out, it would cause a sensation far and wide, and might even draw divine beings to appear, to take him as a disciple. But because of the agreement with Senior Qi Shi, Jiang Xian had no choice but to feign mediocrity, using the aura control technique taught by Senior Qi Shi to disguise his cultivation level. Since you did it for your clan, for the survival of your tribe, it is understandable. The Qian Emperor's voice was ethereal. But have you considered, what will you do a month from now, with your current strength? Killing an early Xiantian with force is already your limit. As for a severely injured late Xiantian, killing him was pure luck. It relied on the fury in your heart. A month later, any late Xiantian from the Shinto tribe could kill you. Then what if I break through to Xiantian within a month? Jiang Xian asked. You little sly fox, still trying to pry information out of me. The Qian Emperor said bluntly. You stand no chance. To fully break through to the Xiantian realm with black profound art requires a massive amount of resources. It's not just a matter of me guiding you. You can break through. This technique is an ancient foundational method. I made some improvements to it. It can either consume a large amount of resources to break through quickly, or rely on absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, taking more time to break through. You are currently the latter. You just need to stay diligent. By the time you're 18, you'll definitely break through. 18? That's still 3 years away. Doesn't that mean I'm as good as dead in a month? You could also choose to concede before stepping onto the arena. Emperor Qian coaxed. Concede? Impossible, Jiang Xian said quickly. My father taught me that a real man can only die standing, not live on his knees. I am the last man of the Jiang clan. Even if the Shinto clan eventually enslaves our clan, they'll have to step over my dead body first. You do have backbone, Emperor Qian commented. Senior, say what you have to say directly. Senior, after I die, will you miss me? The ethereal voice asked after a moment of silence. You little rascal, stop playing the pity card with me. I didn't say you would definitely die. Hey, I knew you wouldn't just watch me die, Senior. Please teach me what to do, Senior. Practice the saber. Practice the saber. Jiang Xian's spirits lifted, but he was puzzled. Senior, can you use the sound transmission stone to teach me saber techniques? The sound transmission stone can't transmit skills or techniques. Like saber or sword techniques, it's not just oral formulas. There are also diagrams of the moves. And sound transmission can only pass along oral formulas and mental secrets. The person on the other end of the stone can't see the diagrams. Of course, I can't teach you the saber technique. Qian Huang said. Then what do you mean, Senior? You practice your clans. Wind chasing saber, that will do. Although this technique is somewhat crude, it's enough. Additionally, I will also teach you a breathing technique. As long as you can comprehend it, your aptitude for techniques will be greatly enhanced and may even increase several times. Qian Huang's voice was ethereal and casual. Breathing technique? Jiang Xian was stunned for a moment. What is the breathing technique? It can enhance comprehension. Comprehension is a type of talent. Talent can also be enhanced. In the immortal Dew Hall, the maidservant in the purple dress suddenly trembled. She still dared not raise her head to look at the Qian Emperor, not even once. Her eyes, staring sideways at the ground, were wide open, extremely shocked. Has His Majesty finally decided to pass on the breathing technique? But why pass it on to Jiang Xian? Jiang Xian had never heard of the breathing technique, because in this world, from ancient times to the present, there has never been a method like the breathing technique. It was created by the Qian Emperor. 12,000 years ago, the Qian Emperor conceived the idea of creating the breathing technique. 10,000 years ago, she began initial deductions. Until the last 10 years, it was finally developed. There's only one breathing technique in this world. The Qian Emperor only perfected it in recent years. His Majesty once said that she deduced for 10,000 years before creating the breathing technique that truly enhances cultivation comprehension. If this were spread, the overall strength of this world will be increased by at least several times. Not only would the difficulty for mortals to become gods and demons decrease, even gods and demons could rely on the breathing method to enhance the possibility of comprehending divine powers. This is a great merit surpassing the ancient sages. and also the key to elevating this world into a greater world. Why does His Majesty, the purple dressed maid, wondered in confusion. The breathing method itself is a technique that allows one to maintain an optimal cultivation state. It can also further stimulate a person's cultivation potential. You can think of the breathing method as enhancing your talent, but in reality, the breathing method only brings out the hidden talent you already possess but haven't used. Qian Huang briefly explained, there is actually such a technique, stimulating hidden talent, making enlightenment improve several times over. Jiang Xian was shocked. People are different from one another. Exactly how much can it improve? It varies from person to person. Some may only improve their enlightenment by a few tenths. Some can improve it several times over. Qian Huang said, actually, these are all results of her calculations. In the calculated results, there were even cases of improvement by dozens of times. However, the probability of such a case occurring is extremely low. She didn't expect it to happen to Jiang Xian either, so she didn't mention it. Even if it only improved by a few tenths, it would still be incredible. Jiang Xian's eyes widened. Sometimes, when comprehending martial techniques, one might be just a tiny bit short. If one's comprehension were just a little higher, they would grasp it. A few tenths improvement in comprehension might already be the difference between a mediocrity and a genius, and it might even improve several times. How is that possible? I've never heard of a breathing method like that. Senior, you never told me about such a technique before. Over these 8 years, Qian Huang had taught Jiang Xian many common cultivation knowledge. Thus, although Jiang Xian was a tribal youth, he was very knowledgeable. Do you have to get to the bottom of this? The ethereal voice revealed a hint of exasperation. So, are you going to learn it or not? I will learn. Please teach me, Senior. I can teach you, but the usual rules apply. First, we set 3 ground rules. Speak, Senior. Don't talk to anyone about the breathing method. Don't pass it on. You must practice it diligently. If you encounter any problems while practicing the breathing method, you must tell me immediately. An hour later, Emperor Qian had already fully taught the Rui breathing method to Jiang Xian. The two ended their telepathic communication. Ronger, I know you're confused. Ask whatever you want. Emperor Qian glanced at the maid in the purple dress and said, then gracefully walked toward the long desk on the north side. She had been too lonely at the top for too long. No one around her dared to chat idly with her, not even her closest maid, unless she spoke first. Your Majesty, the maid Ronger followed Emperor Qian's steps. Since you value this little fellow so much, why not bring him to the capital? Bring him? And then what? Another person who, after one look at me, would never dare to raise their head and speak to me? Emperor Qian continued, and with his talent, he is completely unworthy to be my disciple. He falls far short, let alone a half-step innate at 15. Even a 15-year-old divine demon would only barely qualify as my nominal disciple. The maid Ronger naturally knew how poor Jiang Xian's talent was. Placed in a small tribe, Jiang Xian might be considered talented, but placed within the entire Great Qian dynasty, which possesses millions of miles of territory, Jiang Xian could be said to be extremely mediocre. Then, Your Majesty, you still pass the breathing technique you just created to him. The maid Ronger asked, there always has to be the first person to cultivate the breathing technique. Why can't it be him? Emperor Qian said, walking behind the long desk and sitting down. In the future, the breathing technique will be passed on to all the people. It must be handled with extreme caution. Although in my deduction, the breathing technique has no flaws and can be directly passed on, but the results of deduction are not absolute. But the deduction results are not absolute either. There must always be a group of people who cultivate first, so that any potential flaws or problems can be identified. This young one is fated to be with me, although I cannot be by his side to guide him, as long as he truthfully reports his cultivation progress to me each time. Even if something does go wrong with his breathing technique cultivation, I can correct it in time. The Qian Emperor paused as he spoke. So, Your Majesty, you are worried that even after he cultivates the breathing technique, he still cannot become a divine demon. The maid Ronger picked up the conversation. The Qian Emperor nodded. For a mortal to become a divine demon is like crossing a natural chasm. That is an elevation of life level. If he cannot become a divine demon, then we cannot continue to observe the situation of divine demons cultivating the breathing technique. Your Majesty, why not find a group of mortals with sufficiently high talent? The higher the talent, the smaller the effect of the breathing technique. The Qian Emperor explained. The cultivation talent of people in this world has an upper limit of talent. I am that upper limit. No one's talent can surpass mine. Those whose talent is close to mine must have extremely minimal hidden talent. Even with that hidden talent added, they still can't match me. The poorer the talent, the more hidden talent they might possess. Jiang Xian's talent is very mediocre. Because of this, it's possible he has more hidden talent. It could be a fraction of the talent he has already shown, or it could be several times that. That is, even if his talent increased several times, it would still be difficult for him to become a divine being. In truth, Emperor Qian wasn't insisting on anything. She passed the breathing technique to Jiang Xian, more because of his current situation. She simply did it on a whim. Regarding the verification of the breathing technique, she already had a plan. Jiang Xian was an extra person added to the plan temporarily. Emperor Qian originally didn't care about the life and death of mortals. Now, she views the world from a perspective overlooking all living beings. But Jiang Xian, after all, is somewhat different. The two have known each other for 8 years. Jiang Xian was her only friend. Indeed, even if his talent improved several times, it would still be difficult for him to become a divine being. The maid Ronger thought to herself, but if his talent could improve dozens of times, or even 100 times, even if he didn't have many cultivation resources around, becoming a god or demon wouldn't be difficult. If he could truly improve that much, it would mean he himself was a once-in-10,000 years unprecedented genius. It's just that because this world's cultivation methods are fundamentally flawed, he can't fully utilize his talent. The Qian Emperor said, shaking his head. The great Qian has hundreds of millions of subjects. He could speak to me using the ancient sound transmission stone, which is already an extraordinary thing. And he happens to be that once-in-10,000 years genius, able to help me perfect the breathing method. Such a coincidence, is it possible? Indeed, it's not very likely. The maid Ronger agreed. It is absolutely impossible, Emperor Qian. July 12th, Jiangclan Earthen City, Back Mountain. Noon, Wei Baijun set down the food box. He also took away the empty food box. Gazing at his son, who was sitting cross-legged with eyes closed before a distant rock, healing his wounds through cultivation. He did not disturb him and turned away. 2 hours later, this breathing technique not only clears my mind, sharpens my thinking, but also accelerates the healing of my meridian's injuries. My injuries are now mostly healed. It stimulates far more than just insight. Jiang Xian opened his eyes, letting out a long breath. At most half a day more, and I will have initially mastered the breathing technique. So hungry, he touched his stomach. Jiang Xian stood up and walked to the replaced food box. He sat down cross-legged again. Opening the food box, he looked at the generous and beautifully prepared dishes inside. A smile spread across Jiang Xian's face. He knew these dishes were all made by his mother's hand. Jiang Xian had been in seclusion healing for 3 days. 2 mornings ago, 2 days ago in the morning, it was the first time Wei Baijun brought food to Jiang Xian. Mother and son had a conversation. Jiang Xian made up a story about meeting a mysterious old man at age 7 who taught him a cultivation method. He glossed over the fact that he had concealed his cultivation level and was half a step into the innate realm. After that, he continued to cultivate under the pretense of healing from his injuries in seclusion. Wei Baijun didn't press Jiang Xian about the Rui breathing technique. After all, her son's recovery from injuries was the priority. Jiang Xian picked up a pastry from the food box and stuffed it into his mouth. Then he pulled out a note from inside. My son, your mother is taking Yaoer into town. Go to your maternal grandfather's house. Read the note carefully. Go ask your grandfather. Jiang Xian frowned slightly. The Wei family of Feishua City had long disowned Wei Baijun. Jiang Xian knew that his mother going there this time would probably yield nothing. Forget about asking the Wei family to use their connections to intervene in the clan life and death battle. Even if it was just to ask for some cultivation resources, it would probably be difficult. Back then, the Wei family had already arranged a betrothal for Mother early on. It was with the young master of a noble territory. But Mother chose father instead. and even became pregnant with me before they were married. Jiang Xian had heard the love story of his parents from the uncles and elders in the clan long ago. Thus, he understood clearly the way family regarded this matter as a great humiliation. In the eyes of the great city clans, so-called tribes were nothing more than barbarians, even if it was the strongest warrior of the tribe. It was no exception. Still, it's fine. Jiang Xian's brows gradually relaxed as he thought. Although mother would be turned away at the door, at least she had taken little sister and left first. If I don't survive stepping off the arena in a month, at least mother and little sister won't meet with misfortune. He understood that the reason mother took little sister away with her must have been with this same intention, to settle Jiang Yao outside. This way, no matter what happens a month from now, Jiang Yao will at least be safe. As for Jiang Xian himself, he had already chosen not to leave. He had discussed this with his mother 2 days ago. And besides, even if he wanted to leave now, there was no chance left. He had already made his move and killed the Shinta tribe leader's own younger brother. Whether it was the inspector's side or the Shinta tribe, both would have people watching him and would not allow him to disappear suddenly. After eating, Jiang Xian entered a cultivation state again. In the blink of an eye, it was late at night success. Jiang Xian's eyes snapped open, a sharp gleam flashing in his gaze. He had initially mastered the Rui breathing method. There were no unusual phenomena, nor any unique fluctuation of energy. The only change was in Jiang Xian's breathing rhythm, which had undergone a permanent transformation. And this change was imperceptible to others. Different people naturally have different breathing rhythms. With this unique breathing rhythm, the innate spiritual energy within his body circulated in a marvelous way. Working in coordination, Jiang Xian, who had stayed awake for several days and nights straight, felt an unprecedented clarity in his mind. Even his perception had directly improved. Senior Qishir had said, when the breathing technique is first mastered, one's comprehension will receive a direct boost. Then, as time goes on, more hidden talents will be unlocked, until all hidden talents are fully awakened. I wonder how much my comprehension has improved initially. Jiang Xian eagerly pulled a beast skin book from his bosom. It was one of the top 3 martial arts secrets of Heightened Mountain, the wind-chasing blade. If only considering the power of the blade techniques, it would be the #1 blade art of Heightened Mountain. But its cultivation difficulty was too great. Even with Jiang Hanfeng's talent, he only managed to master the first 8 forms. The 9th stance remained elusive. My father relied on wind-chasing blade, and the first 8 stances made him unbeatable around Blackpool Mountain. I wonder how long it will take me to master just 1 stance now. Jiang Xian opened the beast hide book and carefully examined the diagram for the 4th stance, circle blade. He started practicing immediately. At noon, outside the earthen city of the Jiang clan, a herd of horse beasts thundered forward. Yellow sand churned. The momentum was astounding. Shinta Lai personally led over 100 tall, burly, and fierce warriors of the Shinta clan, rapidly approaching the earthen city gate. On the city wall, the patrol guards of the Jiang clan all showed panic. The men of the Jiang clan had all died, so these guards were women as well, all beautiful, though they also wore beast-hide armor and held sharp blades. Neither their physiques nor their auras could compare to the men of the Shinta clan. During the death match, what did the Shinta clan intend to do? The Inspector Lord is still in Tuching due to other matters. Surely they wouldn't dare to massacre the city? A crimson horsehead, a full 2 zhang in size, charged at full speed. Chantulies aura su den lit trembled. He leaped up fiercely and swung his long spear with savage might. The long spear bent under his swing, bringing a terrifying aura. It transformed into a savage afterimage. Boom! A section of the city wall collapsed from the strike. A gap several zhang wide appeared. A huge roar echoed through Tuching. Jiang Xian, for the sake of your father's face, I had intended to treat you well. I never expected you to be so reckless. You dare kill my brother? You're just a wet behind-the-ears brat playing hero. In a next life or death battle, I, Shun Tully, will personally take action. Clean your neck and wait to be killed. Shun Tully roared with rage. Everyone in Tuching heard his voice. Sounds of panic arose everywhere. Oh no, Shun Tulu has his eyes on Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian will find it hard to even sneak away. What to do? Xiao Xian can't defend the tribe. Maybe we should run too? Shintulu has been famous for a long time. He is the current #1 innate warrior of Heighten Mountain. To actually issue such a challenge to a 15-year-old boy. How shameless. Unless Uncle Hanfeng suddenly returns. Otherwise, the tribe is finished. Quickly go inform Xiao Xian. Soon after, Jiang Xian, who was cultivating at the back mountain, received the news that Shun Tulu had personally come to deliver a challenge. This matter will surely cause a stir throughout Heighten Mountain. Not only the top 10 tribes will know, but all the hundreds of tribes, big and small, will hear of it. Jiang Xian only listened briefly, then told the tribesmen who brought the news to withdraw. He was immersed in practicing his blade skills. Shintulu will personally kill me. I have less than a month left. Even if hope is slim, I cannot give up. If I can kill him, then I am the #1 warrior of Heighten Mountain. Jiang Xian thought to himself. He practiced his blade with even more devotion. July 13th, noon, on the official road, still over 10 li away from Feishua City. A crimson horse carried a mother and daughter at full gallop. "Mom, how much longer?" asked Jiang Yao, sitting in her mother's arms. "Soon, at most half an hour," Wei Baijun said. She had set out with her daughter the previous afternoon. With Wei Baijun's late stage innate realm cultivation, it was easy for her to take her daughter and bypass the Shinto tribe's blockade and surveillance. The mother and daughter first arrived at the county town nearest to the Jiang clan. After swapping for better horses, they galloped all the way to Feishua City. From nightfall until daybreak, they didn't rest for a single night. Ahead on the official road, a team, all riding expensive horses, came towards the crimson horse from the opposite direction. The pace was slow, leisurely, as if they were in no hurry to get anywhere. At the head of the group was a middle-aged man in brocade robes. "Second master, this time we made such an exorbitant demand of the Wei family. And the Wei family agreed to it all. It seems the Wei family really is in trouble." The one-armed man riding the cyan horse beast spoke. "It's not quite trouble." The middle-aged man in brocade robes riding the black horse beast said casually. "It's just that in recent years, life has been hard for the Wei family. The several tribulation realm experts protecting the clan have either died or are advanced in age. They probably won't last another 10 years. Whether a young tribulation realm expert will emerge within 10 years is uncertain. While they still have some strength, they must form alliances with various sides. If the Wei family wants to maintain its position among the 4 great clans, they have no choice. Besides, the middle-aged man in brocade robes suddenly darkened his expression. As for that matter back then, when Wei Baijun broke off the engagement with me, the fault lies entirely with the Wei family. Can't even keep your own young lady in check. Gets pregnant out of wedlock with some wild man from tribe. As if they don't take our Dong clan seriously at all. The Jina Dong clan was originally a Dong tribe. 300 years ago, it rose to become a noble territory. Founded Jina City, our Dong clan and the Wei family have had a friendship spanning 100 years at the very least. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say we're old family friends. But all cracked because of the broken engagement. Both families became the laughingstock of Feishua City. Although there was still some contact afterward, their cooperation decreased significantly. Now the Wei family is willing to accept my terms for an alliance, partially to compensate me for what happened back then. The middle-aged man in the brocade robe said, a hint of complacency showing on his face. My father is now a strong contender for the position of city lord of Jina City. He holds great power. For the Wei family to seek an alliance with the Dong clan, they have no choice but to curry favor with me. Forget about the 65% of the profits I demanded for the cooperation. Even if I asked for more, the Wei family would have to agree. Yes. Second master, you now are nothing like those years ago. The Wei family wants an alliance, but must also act according to your pleasure. You didn't ask for more, that is your benevolence. The one-armed man flattered him. Ha. The middle-aged man in brocade robes laughed heartily. In high spirits, Wei Baijun spotted a group of over 20 people from far away. Though the whole group rode expensive horse beasts, they did not raise any banners, so it was unclear which family they belonged to. Wei Baijun didn't pay much attention to them, but couldn't help lowering his bamboo hat, and fiercely flicked his horsewhip again, hastening on his way with great speed, head down. The official road was over 10 zhang wide. The Dong family's party walked unhurriedly along one side of the road. A vermilion horse beast galloped past on the other side of the road. The rider wore a bamboo hat and was protecting a girl in his arms, looking quite dashing and heroic. As the two sides passed by each other, the middle-aged man in brocade robe turned his head and casually glanced. The wind lifted the white gauze on the brim of her bamboo hat. The middle-aged man in brocade robe caught a glimpse of the horsewoman's profile. The woman's posture as she hurried along was extremely focused. At the same time, the wind also lifted the half veil covering the face of the girl sitting in front. At that moment, the girl, with a curious gaze, she glanced toward the group of over 20 riders. Time and space seemed at this moment to have frozen for an instant. The middle-aged man in brocade robe instantly recognized that profile. Although he had not seen her for 16 years, he would never forget the woman who had enchanted him for a full 10 years. But strangely, his gaze barely lingered on that profile and was instantly drawn to the face of the girl not far away whose veil had fluttered up. He was utterly shocked, as if 26 years ago, when he first saw her at the Wei family. She looks so much like her, as if they were carved from the same mold. The crimson horse beast carried the two of them galloping towards Flying Snow City. The noble Dong family's procession had naturally moved quite far ahead again. The middle-aged man in brocade robes, who had turned around with a shocked face, suddenly raised his hand, signaling the procession to stop. Wei Baijun, as well as her daughter, Wei Baijun, was returning to Flying Snow City. The middle-aged man in brocade robes pulled hard on the reins. He turned his horse's head and stopped again, gazing at the horseback figures that were already 100 zhang away and growing more distant. He had long heard that this wench gave birth to a son for that wild man, and then gave birth to a daughter. But he never expected that they would look so alike. That girl, when Wei Baijun was in her teens, was almost exactly the same. Second master, what's wrong with you? Do you know those two? The one-armed man called out repeatedly. The middle-aged man in brocade finally came to his senses. Let's go. The man in brocade's eyes burned with intensity. With a grand wave of his hand, returned to Snowfall City, behind the earthen city of the Jiang clan's tribe. The sound of whoosh, whoosh filled the air incessantly. Jiang Xian practiced his blade art on the open ground before the strange stone. He had not rested at all. His movements were ghostly and elusive. The blade light flickered and circled around his body, though there was only one blade. Every time Jiang Xian swung it, it seemed as if dozens of blades whirled around him, forming a defensive posture. Tens of layers of blade shadows interweaved, though there were still gaps in the defense. As he kept practicing, over time, the gaps grew fewer. The wind-chasing blade had only 9 forms, but in truth, each form contained many basic stances and movements. At the least, a dozen, at the most, hundreds. However many movements it contained, that was how many variations there were. These changes must be completed in an instant. Only then can this technique be considered mastered at the basic level. The fourth form, ring blade, is used for defense. It has 36 variations in total. I need to, in an instant, execute all 36 variations accurately without error, so that the blade light forms a continuous sheet. Only then is this form considered mastered at the basic level. When Father practiced this form back then, it took him over 2 years to go from beginner to mastery. But I faster, even faster, faster. Break for me. Whoosh. Suddenly a buzzing sound vibrated, and Jiang Xian's blade light completely merged into one continuous whole, encircling Jiang Xian's body, forming a perfect, flawless ring composed of 36 layers of blade shadows, protecting Jiang Xian within. Done. Jiang Xian abruptly stopped, his face blank. He couldn't help looking up at the sky, checking the sun's position. And it only took me 10 shurchen. Jiang Xian murmured, excitement surging in his eyes. Senior, are you there? I mastered it. I mastered a technique in just 10 hours. Jiang Xian leaped over to the ancient transmission stone. He was extremely excited, all thanks to the breathing technique. Such a terrifying cultivation speed. The breathing technique must have multiplied his talent several times over. He wondered where such a massive breakthrough, right after mastering it, would rank in the eyes of Senior Strange Stone. The transmission stone gave no response. Clearly, the senior was not around for now. Jiang Xian then looked at the blade in his hand. He casually swung it a couple of times, try to recapture the feeling from that moment. Then his eyes sharpened, and he forcibly calmed himself down. He focused with absolute concentration and seriousness. He swung the blade again, whoosh, hum, and the vibrating hum sounded once more. A perfect ring formed by 36 layers of blade shadows appeared again. I did it. I really did it. Jiang Xian was beside himself with excitement. Swing the blade again. Huh. But this time, although 36 layers of blade light were unleashed in an instant, the combination was not perfect. As a result, several gaps appeared in the defensive ring. Jiang Xian was not surprised by this, because he had only just mastered the basics of this technique. And when he had just performed it, he was not focused enough, too excited. To chase the wind blade, basic mastery and advanced mastery of the 9 moves. There is no difference in power. When executed the same way, advanced mastery is not more powerful than basic mastery. The difference lies in advanced mastery means being able to execute the move anytime, anywhere, at will, integrating the blade techniques into instinct. Even if ambushed while in deep sleep, the moment you wake, you can execute it perfectly. With basic mastery, you must concentrate fully to execute a perfect move. Although there is no difference in power, the difference in practical combat is huge. It could be described as a world of difference. Jiang Xian was well aware of the gap. When practicing the blade, there was no danger around. All attention was on his own blade. Once a move was mastered, it was not difficult to execute it again, as long as he stayed focused enough. But in actual combat, danger lurked everywhere amid dodging and turning. He might be ambushed. He might get injured, his nerves on edge. Under such circumstances, to unleash a perfect move at any moment, one had to be proficient in it. Father took 2 years to get started with the circular blade form. From getting started to becoming proficient, it took him less than a year, because he had a combat environment. He followed the hunting team into the mountains, fighting life and death battles with beasts and monsters, thus becoming increasingly skilled. The time to master becomes shorter. But Jiang Xian thought for a moment. He definitely cannot leave the tribal stronghold now. A few female warriors of the innate realm within the clan could serve as his sparring partners. But that wasn't life and death combat. The sense of crisis was insufficient, and it might even be counterproductive. Once he encountered a real life or death battle, he would be caught off guard, and moreover, he couldn't engage in life and death battles now, because he absolutely could not get injured. If his injuries were too severe to heal quickly, it would affect the arena battle a month later. If he didn't engage in life and death combat, even with diligent practice, the time to master it would be twice that of achieving entry level. So what if it's double? Jiang Xian was feeling somewhat spirited. I mastered this technique in just 10 hours, at most a day and a half to achieve mastery. The difficulty of practicing the 5th technique increased again, but I can still master it in a day or two, and master it in 2 to 3 days. Before my father disappeared, though past 40, he had only mastered the first 8 techniques in his half-life. He couldn't even reach entry level for the 9th. Aside from me, father was the greatest genius of the Jiang clan in a century. Before his disappearance, he lived up to expectations by suppressing all the innate experts in the Ebony Mountain area. Jiang Xian thought to himself, but this #1 prodigy in a century, when viewed against the millennium-long history of the Jiang clan, is not that impressive. Over the past 1,000 years, the Jiang clan has produced 4 beings who surpassed the innate realm. All 4 of them mastered the 9 forms of the wind-chasing blade before the age of 20. Among them, the ancestor Jiang Zhengyu, who lived over 500 years ago, is the most legendary. He entered the innate realm at just 13, mastered the 9 forms at 15, and surpassed the innate realm at 21. He was hailed as the Black Pawn Saber ancestor, on the verge of reaching the divine demon realm. Unfortunately, even he could not lead the clan to found a city and rise to nobility. Black Pawn Saber ancestor Jiang Zhengyu, the greatest prodigy of the Jiang clan in a millennium, could also be called the greatest prodigy of Black Pawn Mountain in a millennium, the foremost saber master of 1,000 years. He was also the only person in the 1,000-year history of the Jiang clan who ever touched the threshold of the divine demon realm. The Jiang clan, more than 500 years ago, reached its peak because of Jiang Zhengyu. Many noble lords and great city clans humbly sought to ally with him. An ancient god-demon once declared that Jiang Zhengyu possessed the bearing of a god-demon. He was originally meant to lead the Jiang clan to rise to nobility. It was almost a certainty, but all those predictions and praises, as well as Jiang Zhengyu's own efforts, all in his 31st year, came to an abrupt halt 557 years ago. The Tribulation Realm powerhouse Jiang Zhengyu, only 31 years old, fell in the deepest part of the Ten Directions death ground of Blackpool Mountain, perishing in the belly of the millennium-old great demon Qi Zheng. Beasts and humans have different lifespans. To this day, the millennium-old great demon Qi Zheng still lives in the Ten Directions death ground of Blackpool Mountain. The last time it wreaked havoc on the world was 130 years ago. It is known as one of the three nightmares of Blackpool Mountain. And our Jiang clan's ancestor, Jiang Zhengwu, Jiang Xian sighed, though he has been dead for over 500 years, yet now in the Blackpool Mountain region, even as far as Flying Snow City and its surroundings, those prefectural cities and county towns, tribal territories and noble estates, they still recount the deeds of Blackpool Blade ancestor Jiang Zhengwu. Whenever anyone studies the blade, learning the history of blade arts in this region, they cannot bypass him, the millennium's greatest blade prodigy. I've heard that even in the records of Flying Snow City's two academies, there are extensive accounts of Jiang Zhengwu's life. Not only must blade practitioners understand him, but those training in other weapons must have heard of him as well. One could say he is known to everyone, without exception. Jiang Xian felt honored to share the name. Although the ancestors of the 10 great tribes of Blackpool Mountain had each produced a few formidable figures who surpassed the innate realm. But if one were to compare them, Jiang Zhengwu was undoubtedly the most outstanding of them all, even though he didn't lead the Jiang clan to rise to nobility. That was only because he fell too early, not having accumulated enough wealth to build a city. Ancestor Jiang Zhengwu comprehended the 9 forms of wind-chasing blade at 15. I'm also 15 this year. I have the chance to be like him, to master the 9 forms at 15, and become the second person in 1,000 years. Jiang Xian understood that he had begun to catch up to the footsteps of the strongest ancestor. But he was also clear-headed. I have the teachings of Senior Strangestone, which is why I can make such rapid progress. The ancestor did not have such an opportunity, relying solely on his own talent and hard training. He reached that level. If not for falling too early, he might even have become a deity or demon. Jiang Xian said silently, my current realm is still only half-step Xiantian. In this regard, I am far behind the ancestor. Even if I catch up in blade technique, I should work even harder. Perhaps I, too, have a chance to become a godly demon. To become a godly demon in the land ruled by Feishues City. There is only one godly demon, the Lord of Feishues City himself. He is the supreme ruler here. To Jiang Xian in the past, becoming a godly demon was an unattainable luxury. He didn't even dare to dream of it. With his talent, he had absolutely no chance. But now, having cultivated the breathing method, Jiang Xian finally sees a glimmer of hope. Senior Qi, Senior, are you there? Jiang Xian called out to the communication stone several times, wanting to share the good news with Senior Qi, but received no response. Jiang Xian was used to this. He stopped calling and resumed practicing his blade technique. He had just mastered the wind-chasing blade. The fourth move, Jiang Xian wanted to consolidate it. Feishues City, the Wei family's old residence. In the front courtyard reception hall. Fourth uncle, what did you say? Wei Baijun suddenly stood up, eyes reddening. My father, he's gone. The journey home was smoother than she had imagined, but she never expected that the first news upon returning home would be that her father had died 2 years ago, the fall of a Tribulation Realm cultivator. For the entire Snowfall City was hardly a trivial matter, yet she had not heard a single word about it. Jiang Yao, standing behind the chair, blinked her eyes. She had never met her grandfather, so this death news didn't impact her at all. By comparison, the luxurious and opulent hall, the decorations and furnishings she had never seen before, and even the maid in beautiful clothes standing nearby, were far more interesting to her. Third elder brother fled back to Snowfall City, badly injured. In the main seat, a 60-year-old elder held a teacup, looking at Wei Baijun with a stern expression. He specifically instructed before his death, "I won't let you know about this. No need for you to come to the funeral. I know, father never forgave me. I let him down back then." Wei Baijun bit her lip. Her face pale, she slowly sat down. Humph. Hearing Wei Baijun bring up the past, Wei Hongqua snorted coldly in displeasure. He scolded again. If third brother were still alive, do you think you'd be allowed through the Wei family gate? With your father's temper, even if you knelt outside the door until you died, you'd never set foot in the Wei family again. The matter of Wei Baijun eloping with another man and getting pregnant with his child, the strongest reaction within the Wei family, the one who showed the most hatred towards Wei Baijun, was Wei Baijun's father, Wei Hongchong. The removal of her from the family was also his proposal, but Wei Baijun understood. Though her stubborn father refused to forgive her, he was also protecting her. The harsher and more ruthless he was toward his own daughter, the harder it was for other clan members to interfere. By expelling her from the clan and letting the matter end there, the family could stop pursuing it further. Otherwise, a small Jiang clan like theirs, facing a giant family from Flying Snow City, could truly be annihilated with just a single squad sent by them. Back then, many things done in the shadows, many murderous intentions, were secretly suppressed by her father. "Thank you, fourth uncle, for agreeing to see me," Wei Baijun said. Her relationship with Wei Hongqua back then hadn't been good, and she understood that the reason Wei Hongqua was willing to see her now was likely to enjoy her plight. The Jiang clan had been trapped in a life-or-death clan war for 3 years. That wasn't exactly a secret. Wei Hongqua must have heard about it. One must bow one's head when under someone else's roof. Wei Baijun had come to ask for help. She had no choice but to humble herself. Still, she believed with her son's talent, it will surely be taken seriously by the family. Agreeing to see you is only because they feared you and your mother would truly kneel endlessly outside the gate. The Wei family has already lost face because of you back then. We cannot lose face because of you again, Wei Hongqua said with a clatter. He took a sip of tea and set the teacup down on the table. Wei Hongqua said coldly, "Speak. This is your first time home in over a decade. I'm afraid it's not just to offer greetings, is it? Fourth uncle, you must have heard that 3 years ago, the Jiang clan started a life and death war with the Shinna clan. Over these 3 years, the warriors of the Jiang clan have either died or fled. They are now on the verge of extinction." Wei Baijun braced herself and spoke directly. Wei Hongqua responded with a cold snort. "Hoda, so what? You have been disowned by the family. That insignificant Jiang clan is no relation by marriage to our Wei family. You want the family to help you secretly destroy the Shinda clan." No, Wei Baijun said hastily. "I know that the tribal life and death battle has supervisors overseeing it. Even the Wei family cannot take such a risk. That is to help you escape disaster." Wei Hongqua raised his eyelids. He sneered. "Back when you cut ties with the family, the words were very clear. From then on, your life and death have nothing more to do with the family. I heard that the Jiang tribe is about to lose. Now, as a woman of the Jiang tribe, you will become a slave of the Shinta tribe. Let me give you some advice. When it really comes to that point, you'd better commit suicide and leave with some dignity, to avoid bringing shame to the family. After all, the blood flowing in your veins is that of the Wei family. As for you wanting the family to help you escape disaster, or even remove your wanted status, I can tell you right now, stop living in a fantasy." After finishing his speech, Wei Hongqua felt much more relieved. He had never liked this niece before, outshone his own children. And now, as luck would have it, Wei Baijun had called off the engagement and eloped back then. The man she jilted was from the noble Dong family of Jinha. Because of this, the Wei and Dong families had a chilly relationship for many years. They only recently started getting along again. Wei Hongqua had just finished talks with the Dong family this morning, when Wei Baijun suddenly showed up in the afternoon. During the negotiations with the Dong family that morning, Wei Hongqua, now one of the Wei family's key figures, had endured quite a bit of humiliation. He had made many concessions for what happened years ago, and had to put on a smiling face for every junior member of the Dong family. Wei Baijun was practically delivering herself to be scolded, giving him a chance to vent. "Fourth uncle, we're not trying to run away. My son is very talented. Your son, that bastard you conceived back then? As Wei Hongqi spoke, he shot a glance at Jiang Yao, standing behind Wei Baijun. Wei Baijun's eyelid twitched violently. The word bastard cut deeply in her heart, but she had to swallow it for now. Though she had fallen out with her family, Wei Baijun never really believed she was wrong, including the pregnancy before marriage. Back then, during her travels, she had met and come to know Jiang Hanfeng. They grew fond of each other, and Jiang Hanfeng had saved her life several times. She gave herself to him. It should have been a beautiful story. But because of the vast gap in their statuses, so many storms had erupted back then. Fourth uncle, his name is Jiang Xian. A few days ago, during the clan's life or death battle, Wei Baijun began to narrate, not even giving Wei Hongqi a chance to interrupt. She had to make her family understand what kind of genius her son was. She had never planned to rely on emotions to persuade her family to help. This matter still had to be handled with interest. After recounting the battle between Jiang Xian and Shun Tuyong, Wei Baijun relayed what Jiang Xian had said. At 7, he encountered a mysterious old man who taught him a cultivation technique. Fourth uncle, my son stepped into half-step innate at 12. It has been 3 years since then. Now, he only needs enough cultivation resources. He is fully capable of becoming innate within a month. Becoming innate. The resources needed to train an innate are insignificant to the Wei family. I believe that with my son's talent, surpassing innate in the future is not necessarily impossible. He even has hopes of reaching the divine demon realm. If the family is willing to provide some cultivation resources and help him, he will certainly repay the Wei family in the future. He can become the protector of the Wei family, vowing to defend the Wei family to the death. Wei Baijun said these last words with great excitement. Her son is a genius. Geniuses have value. The matter of recruiting and nurturing geniuses is something many major clans in Flying Snow City are doing. Whether they are orphans or children of small and humble families, as long as they show enough talent, they will be favored by the great families. Give money and resources to nurture them. If a small family produces a super genius, the big families are even willing to marry their legitimate children to them, thus binding them together completely. Jiang Xian is not just a genius. He also carries the blood of the Wei family in his veins. Wei Baijun believed she could convince her fourth uncle. The hall fell into silence. For a full 10 odd breaths, with a sound, Wei Hongqi, who had been staring blankly at Wei Baijun, finally couldn't help but burst out laughing. Then he laughed out loud and slapped his thigh twice, his whole face turning red from laughing. Ha ha ha, what did you say? 12 years old, half-step innate? Surpassing innate, and even with hope for the divine demon realm? Expect him to protect the Wei family in the future? Ha ha, you really dare to say that? You really dare, just because he's a bastard. He wants to step through the Wei family's door, just to fight for some training resources for your son. You'll say any big lie. Do you know what it means to be at the half-step innate realm at 12? That means becoming innate is already without obstacles. If one is willing to provide resources for training, within half a year, he will definitely become innate. With such talent, just spread the word, and it will attract gods and demons to come in person, to take him as a disciple. Your son has that kind of talent. Do you even believe such words yourself? He's a bastard. What qualifies him? And something about meeting a mysterious elder at 7 who taught him a technique and told him to conceal his cultivation level. Such an obvious lie. He tells you that, and you believe it? You're truly stupid enough. Ha 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 ha. Wei Hongqi, over 60 years old, really couldn't hold it in. It wasn't just him laughing. The maids in the corners of the hall and at the door who had been silent with their heads down, as well as the green-robed attendants guarding outside, all had faces struggling to suppress laughter. Those nearby exchanged glances with each other. It was really, truly hilarious. The over-the-top wording had already produced a comical effect. Fourth master, a middle-aged figure who looked like a steward, hurried into the main hall. Yuan Zhong, you've come just in time. You remember Wei Baijun, right? My third brother's daughter. Let me tell you, she just now. At this moment, Wei Hongqi had an especially strong urge to share. He did it on purpose. He wished the entire family knew what crazy things Wei Baijun had said.